Welcome into another episode of The Locker Room here on SBTV. I'm your host, Ben Zitouni. Joining me today is Malik Jackson and Michael Wengrzyn. Guys, how was your spring break, and are you ready for the last big push of this school year? Michael?
It was pretty good spring break for me overall. Didn't really do all that much, or I didn't really get
Which
to go.
is perfectly fine.
Exactly. Didn't go anywhere too special. Just went home and relaxed. Just tried to take a week off of things and stuff like that. As for the semester, 5 more weeks to go. Just got to keep working our way through.
We'll make it through it. Malik?
5 more weeks to go. Have to continue to get our grades up, push forward, study hard, and just ready to get through it. My spring break was fairly well. Got to go to Chicago and see the great skyline and just see the skyscrapers. It's beautiful, a beautiful city, but
nice weather.
Just ready to get the show on the road.
Great weather, and we're getting a foot of snow right now. So anyway, on today's show, we'll recap Pointer sports action that took place over spring break. We'll preview the MLB season, recap the men's national basketball tournament, preview the end of the NBA and NHL regular seasons, and play around to buy or sell. Starting tonight's show, Pointer's men's hockey team didn't make it to the national championship game as they lost in the national semifinal to Salve Regina 3-0. The Pointers outshot the Seahawks 53-21. Goalie Max Milosic finished his final game as a Pointer with 17 saves and finishes his Pointers career with 70 games played, a .911 save percentage, and a record of 48-7-4. The Pointers finished the season 21-6-3 and had a 20-win season for the 5th straight season. Guys, what went wrong for the Pointers in their semifinal game, and what grade would you give them for their season? Michael?
The big thing I think that went wrong for them in that national semifinal game was the bad shots that they took. They took 53 shots compared to Salve Regina's 21 shots on goal. And the shots that they were taking were pretty lazy. They weren't in great spots. They were taking a lot of shots on net that, I don't know, it was in like desperation and nowhere trying to get anywhere ahead. It was just trying to get themselves in the game still. And for the most part, it really, really hit them hard when Salve Regina capitalized on those power play goals that they had there for their first 2 goals in net. And then for the grade-wise, it's a little bit of a down year for them in terms of production and stuff like that, but I would have to give them a B based on the fact that they did make it actually back to the Frozen Four. Looking in comparison to last season when they didn't make it, they beat a tough Adrian team in the quarterfinals, but at the same time, they lost a few games this year that they really should have won, but there's bright hope for the future next season, so I'll give them a B for this year.
Malik?
Well, with having 5 consecutive seasons with 20 wins, I mean, that's pretty impressive. I would definitely give the team a B+ grade, same as I had on the last last week. But, I mean, to have 53 shots on net and to not let one go, I mean, one doesn't go in, I mean, that's pretty incredible to even think about. I mean, let's give credit where credit is due. I mean, 53 saves is that's a lot of saves to be made, so give credit to the other team for working hard. But I mean, like you said, Mike, making it to the Frozen Four, I mean, it's pretty impressive, and that's a good accomplishment for a team, going into the future. So I mean, they just have to build off of that and continue to, like you said, make smarter plays or make smarter shots. I mean, they only took 21 shots and they made 3 of them. So, well, 2, another one was on the empty net, but I mean, the power play, penalty killing is very important in hockey. So I think that's a big thing or a big element in which they should probably focus on going into the future.
Yeah, I think one major thing that stood out to me when I watched a semifinal game is they didn't win a lot of the 50-50 battles, especially in not only in their zone but in the Seahawks zone at the other end of the ice. They didn't win a lot of the 50-50 battles, and Michael, you touched on it. They threw all these shots on goal, but nothing went in, and a lot of those were desperation shots. I think when they got down, they got a little bit flustered and they were pressing a little bit. And they were letting the pressure get to them, and they weren't able to slow down and let their offense get set up. Malik, you touched on it, penalty killing. Obviously didn't do a good job on that with the power play goals they allowed. Grade-wise, I'd give them B+, A-. Earlier this season, before winter break, in December before they swept Adrian, I think their record was 5-3, 5-4, and there was a lot of talk if the Pointers don't get on a little bit of a run, they're not going to make the tournament. And they were able to sweep Adrian at home, 2 big wins that really, I think, turned their season around.
I agree.
Yeah, so great season for the Pointers hockey team. All the seniors that graduated, 3 of them signed professional contracts. Nate Harris, Willem Lambert, and Max Milosik. Good luck to them as they start their professional careers.
Congrats.
Yeah, big time. The Pointers baseball team went 6-4 over their 10 games played in Florida over spring break. The Pointers' biggest win was a 20-0 drubbing of Keuka College. Junior catcher Kyle Mrozinski went 4 for 4 with 5 RBI, scored 4 runs, and fell a triple shy of the cycle. The Pointers' record now stands at 8-4 on the young season. They did have a doubleheader scheduled for yesterday against Oshkosh, but that was postponed due to the weather. Guys, if you're the Pointers, what can you take away from the Florida trip, and what are some things to build on? Malik?
I mean, 20 to score 20 runs in a baseball game, that is pretty significantly.
Yeah.
That's promising, and that just shows that they can go out any night and produce these amount of runs. And I mean, when you try to look at it, I mean, take away confidence and having a catcher that can actually go out there and hit 4 balls that's being pitched to him, that's phenomenal. So I think you really have to look at that, and knowing that you have, he's a junior as well. So knowing that you have that type of, that type of stature or that type of
Building
confidence,
on the experience
it's just really important for that, and getting RBIs and keeping it up and those type of things. I mean, they had 3 RBIs. He had 2 hits, and it was only at 4 bats. That was Peyton Nelson, and you just got to continue to do that.
It's great to see the young players contributing as well.
Very true.
Michael?
Good to see the Pointers finish out their trip down in Florida with being over 500, winning 6 out of 10 games, and now they're going into conference play. It's going to pick up a lot more now as they get ready to face off.
WEAC's a tough conference for baseball.
Yeah, definitely, and you got Whitewater and Oshkosh in there, and lacrosse too has also been very good too in the past couple of years. So they treated this as a good little spring training part of their season, even though it is part of their season schedule. But it's all non-conference, getting to play some tough competition down there, even though they completely drubbed Keuka College 20-0. So they definitely got a lot of production out of it. Kyle Mrozinski looks good behind the plate and also at the plate when he's up, putting up some great numbers at batting.
Quality at bats as well.
Yeah, and you also got to give credit to pitching as well, especially when it gets deserved.
Yeah, I think the future's bright for this Pointers team. They have the right mix of veteran leadership, juniors and seniors, and then the sophomores. Some of the sophomores got some playing time as freshmen, and I think there's no shortage of leaders on this team, and it could be a special team this year, no doubt about it. Definitely looking forward to that.
Yeah.
The Pointers softball team had a trip to Florida themselves over spring break and went 6-8 in those games, which leaves them at 11-12 on the season. Their biggest victory in Florida came when they beat Mount Mary University 12-1 in 5 innings. What can the team take away from this trip, real quick? Michael?
Well, I think that it's a younger team, and I know there's a lot more underclassmen on this team and such. There's a couple of upperclassmen up there too as well, but they just need to get themselves ready to work a lot harder now as they get ready to start more and more of the conference play now. Conference play is never easy in any sport, so they just need to keep putting up good production values that they can, and hopefully they have a better season going on.
Malik?
In the game that they won, they only had 1 strikeout through the entire game, so that means that it was a little bit more production being done from the whole
Better
entire
plate
lineup.
discipline.
Yep. Exactly, so not swinging at everything, judging the ball right, hitting it in the right spots, picking your spots. It's a really good, important thing for softball, and I think with them being young, as you had noted too, I think they have to build on that going into the future, and they'll establish way more success if they continue to work on those things and build off of their losses too. Look at the things that they've done wrong. They lost 0-8 in one game over to the University of St. Thomas, and they only had 1 hit in the
you're not
entire
going to
game.
win. You're not going to win.
Not going to win any type of game, only
games.
getting 1 hit. So I think they need to learn from that mistakes and just build on what they're successful with.
Yeah, touching on some things that both you guys talked about. Mike, we talked about how young the team is. Sometimes being young is not always a bad thing. They'll be able to learn together, and each of these games is a learning experience. They can build off a few pieces here and there from each game, build off of that, and then focus on their strong suits as well. Their pitching's pretty good and just building off of their offensive strengths too, working on that plate discipline. The Pointers had a doubleheader against St. Norbert at home scheduled for this. Teleprompter's not moving for this afternoon, but it was postponed due to the weather. We're going to take a commercial break. When we come back, we'll preview the MLB season.
How can you get involved with student media at UWSP? Connecting with your campus television station, SBTV, is easy. Like us on Facebook, subscribe to our YouTube channel, follow us on Vine, follow us on Twitter, follow us on Pinterest, follow us on Instagram, or connect with us on Google+. But of course, the best way for you to get involved and stay up to date with all that is happening at our station is to stop by our studio. We're located in the Communication Arts Center at UWSP, Studio B, Room 121. You can also drop by our office, Room 130, for more information on station happenings. We can't wait to get you involved. Come join us at SPTV. Let's make media together.
Season started last Thursday. The Milwaukee Brewers are off to a 3-1 record. They swept their opening series against the Padres, lost their home opener yesterday against the Cardinals 8-4. The Brewers' two big offseason acquisitions contributed in a big way in the Padres series on Saturday night. Christian Yelich and Lorenzo Cain went a combined 8 for 9 with 4 RBIs. Guys, how much of the Brewers' success hinges on how well Cain and Yelich can play? Michael?
Well, I think it hinges a lot. Cain obviously was a Brewer himself, in his early on in his career, and then he went off to Kansas City where he made 2 World Series appearances and won a World Series championship with the Royals, and definitely had that big home run against the Cardinals too, and that home opener for the Brewers against St. Louis. And then with Christian Yelich, that was a big acquisition from the Marlins. I know
definitely someone they can build around for the long
Exactly,
term.
yeah. And having a big name like that in your outfield alongside with Lorenzo Cain, it's going to be pretty interesting to see how they handle themselves in the outfield and how they can contribute as well, both on the field and at the plate as well. I think the Brewers fans have a lot to be excited for going into this season with these two guys, and also for their team in general.
Yeah, Malik, your thoughts?
Totally agree with that. I'd see a good upside for the Brewers bringing in these acquisitions. I mean, you look at Cain, and it's just like like you attested to. He's been to 2 World Series and he won 1. So having that type of experience going into the postseason is
it's only going to benefit.
Exactly, it's very important. And it can also lead to other All-Stars coming into the Brewers lineups or wanting to come. And so that'll just bring a whole bunch of great things for the Milwaukee Brewers organization, not even just with the standpoint of them, just with the organization even going into the drafting or looking at pitchers and just building on their team. So I think the acquisitions will be phenomenal for the future.
Yeah, as a Brewers fan, when they acquired Yelich and Cain a day apart from each other, that showed me one thing, that the Brewers are ready to win now, and I love seeing that. I think that Domingo Santana obviously playing in right, and I'm sure Brett Phillips will be called up at some point this season, and I really think that the outfield of the future for the Brewers is going to be Yelich, Cain, and Brett Phillips. I think they're definitely going to add a lot to the offense. Lorenzo Cain's going to be a much-needed leader in the clubhouse. Not that the Brewers were lacking in the leadership department, but all his experience. You guys both touched on it. 2 World Series, and I think he's barely 30 years old, so experience is plentiful with Cain. Yelich is finally going to be in a winning environment after spending all those seasons down in Miami. It seems like he likes being in Milwaukee, and he's going to be around here for the long term. And you throw Travis Shaw in that 2, 3, and 4 hole in the batting, 2, 3, and 4 lineup in the batting order. Brewers offense is going to be fun to watch this season.
Yeah, Shaw has that big bat too, and he can definitely be that big cleanup hitter that they need at the 4th spot. So
yeah, it's going to be a fun season
for sure.
What's your win prediction for the Brewers this season, Michael?
I think I'll just keep it short. I think they win about 88 games. I want to say it's a fair bet. Maybe they could reach 90. Who knows, depending on how well this team does. But I think they can at least get up to almost 90 wins. I'm going to say 88.
Michael?
I got them going with 80. I got them going 89 and 73 this season.
Awesome. Precise. I like it. I'm going to go with Michael, anywhere from 88 to 90 wins. I think another front-of-the-line, big-name starter for the rotation will definitely pay off dividends for them.
For sure.
Now we're going to go around Major League Baseball and make division winner predictions, along with award predictions, playoff predictions as well. NL Central, how do you think it shapes out?
For me,
Division winner Cubs,
Probably, yeah. I think the Cubs are off to a slow start right now, but I think they'll just end up finding themselves again. They're still a young team, too. I think they'll take the NL Central, but don't count the Brewers out, though. They're still up there as well.
Malik,
I'm actually going to
NL
go with
Central.
the Brewers. I'm going with the Brewers. I think that they have a little bit more stature with themselves, and I think that they have a little bit of confidence. So I'm going to take a shot on the Brewers.
I was going back and forth on this over the weekend. Obviously, I'm a big Brewers fan. I'm going to go with the Brewers. I think the Cubs are definitely beatable. I mean, the Brewers showed that they could hang with the Cubs last season. I don't know how good Kyle Schwarber's doing out in left field. That seems to be the one point of concern if the Cubs had any. I'm gonna take the Brewers to win the division. NL East. Malik, you're a Nationals fan.
I'm gonna go with the Nationals. I really think that they'll get through this year. Hopefully, like the DC curses. It's just all
1 year left of Bryce Harper.
Yep.
Bryce Harper, he had 2 home runs,
Yeah.
I believe,
Yep.
at bat. And I mean, and they called him overrated too. So, the Cincinnati Reds fans are going to regret calling him any type of names for any more times. But I'm going with the Nationals.
NL East.
I think I'm going to have to go with Malik as well. I think the Nationals are going to take the division once again. You mentioned Bryce Harper, but at the same time, you look at the guy who's on the mound, the top guy for him, Max Scherzer, definitely one of the best pitchers in baseball.
Definitely.
Almost threw in a perfect game, actually, a couple of years ago, but he ended up throwing a no-hitter in that game. But he definitely is their top guy in the rotation. You still got also going to mention Steven Strasburg, too.
Yep.
Yeah, he's been there for a few years now. And
I like Jason Worth as well.
exactly, Jason Worth as well. So I think the Nationals are going to take the NL East.
Yeah, 3 across the board for the Nationals, but we'll see if they can actually get it done come playoff time. Doesn't matter what you do in the regular season. If you can't get it done in postseason playoff time, nothing else matters. NL West, Dodgers, the favorite again. Michael?
I think so. It's a little bit tighter this year in the NL West with the Rockies and the Diamondbacks, also being up there in contention as well. But I think the Dodgers still just have that same mentality that they're going to go as far as they want to go. And I think this year they are looking to finish it off with the World Series title. So I think the Dodgers will take the NL West.
Malik?
I'm going with the Dodgers as well.
I honestly, we like to have some parity and different answers on this show, but I think it'll be close between the Diamondbacks and the Dodgers, but I really don't see anybody overtaking the Dodgers to win the West. So we'll do the Dodgers for the NL West. American League, AL Central. Michael, you're a Twins fan.
I am a Twins fan, and while they have been up on the uprise now the past couple of years, first MLB team to make the postseason after losing 100 games the season before, they just can't really beat the Tribe. They had struggles with the Tribes in years past, and the Tribe still has a good team. They beefed up a little bit more this offseason, so I think the Tribe's going to take the AL Central this year.
I think it's going to come down to the Twins and the Indians. Indians, they have a lot of question marks. Michael Brantley's still not healthy. Doesn't seem like he can stay healthy. And if the Indians wind up struggling, don't be surprised come July if Andrew Miller and Cody Allen, 2 big pieces in their bullpen, are on the market being shopped around. I'm just going to go with the Indians. Malik?
I hate to say it, but I'm going to go with the Indians as well. I mean, they had great postseason play, a couple of years ago.
Yeah.
Made it to the World Series, right?
Yep.
And unfortunately, they lost. But it's like they still have that in the back of their minds. That's still haunting them. And they want to get back to that successful, place. And I think they'll get back there. I'm going to take a shot at them.
All right, AL East. You got the Yankees, you got the Red Sox. I really think the Yankees and the Red Sox are at the top of the board.
Yeah.
Go with the Red Sox.
I'm going, okay, Red Sox. Red Sox.
I'm actually going to go with the Yankees on this one.
Oh, okay.
I'm going to go with the Yankees as well. I still think they could use another pitcher for the starting rotation, and you saw Stanton go off his first couple of Yankee home runs over the weekend.
That was just unfair.
Go with the Yankees. AL West.
Well, I mean, you got the defending world champion in that division, and really it's not as competitive, I think, for the Astros. So I think the Astros still have the team that they can get back.
I'll make my piece quick. Astros are going to run away with that division. They're going to win the division by at least 10 games, I say.
I agree with you.
I agree with you as well.
All right.
I'll go against the Astros.
AL and NL MVPs. Your predictions? AL MVP?
AL MVP, I think I'm going to have to give that to it's going to end up being someone from the Yankees, maybe either Judge or Stanton, I'm not really sure. I guess I'll go with Aaron Judge.
Okay, I'm going to go with Stanton with the AL, and I'm going to go in the NL, I will go with Bryce Harper.
All right. Your NL MVP, real quick.
The NL MVP, I think it's going to probably have to go to Cody Bellinger of the Dodgers.
Nice pick. I'm going to go with Stanton for the American League and Christian Yelich for the NL MVP. I think hitting at Miller Park's going to pay off dividends for him. We're a little pressed for time, but anyway, World Series picks, real quick.
I think I'm going to see a rematch of last year's World Series. I think Astros versus Dodgers.
I'm going to go Boston versus Nationals.
Ooh, that'll be
Interesting.
I'll take I'm going to go with Michael. Rematch of last year, Astros versus Dodgers. I still think the Astros are going to win again. We're going to take another commercial break, then we'll be back to recap the men's national tournament.
Don't have a television? Don't worry. SPTV is available on demand at uwsp.edu/SPTV. Find your favorite shows on our website, plus links to all of our YouTube content. Stay up to date with SPTV news that includes information about campus and community happenings. And don't forget to like us on Facebook. We're SPTV-UWSP Television. SPTV. Let's make media together.
Welcome back to the show. March Madness did not disappoint as the tournament was filled with a lot of exciting action. Villanova was crowned the champ for the second time in 3 years, beating Michigan last night, 79-62. Heck of a job by Jay Wright. Guys, what was your favorite moment from the tournament? Mine personally, I loved the run of Loyola Chicago. That was great.
I think I'm going to have to agree with you on that. And, Sister Jean became a national treasure right after Loyola made their magical run all the way to the Final Four. And then, of course, you got to give credit, though, to UMBC being the first 16-seed team to beat a number 1 seed in the first round of the tournament. But I think I'm going to have to go with Loyola Chicago's magical run.
I think it would have meant more if UMBC didn't lose in the second round of the second round action. And they won. They beat Virginia in the first round. Then I kind of had a feeling they'd lose their second round game. Malik, your favorite moment from the tournament?
I actually have two. I'm going to go with actually crowning the champion. So Villanova, give credit where credit is due. They got through the tournament and they beat every team by double digits.
By at least 10
points.
By
double digits. That hasn't been done since Duke did it. Back in a couple of
2009, 2010.
So I mean, that big ups to them, but also I'm gonna say UMBC, the Ramblers. I mean, just beating a number 1 seed broke everybody's bracket. I mean, nobody thought that they had a chance against Virginia. A lot of people had Virginia going to the Final Four. So that was definitely 2 key moments for me, and also UConn losing women's. I'm sorry. Just switch to women's. I'm sorry. That was very
Go ahead.
As well. That was pretty phenomenal for UConn to lose because they never lose. And when they lose, it's like, wow, But big ups to Notre Dame, too, for getting a championship.
Yeah, it was a fun tournament, no doubt. Can't wait for next season when the Badgers are back in the tournament.
That'll be so much fun.
It's going to be fun. We're going to take our final commercial break. We'll be back to break down the end of the NBA and NHL regular seasons, and we'll play around to buy or sell. Welcome back to the show. With about 2 weeks left in the NBA season, many teams are making one last push for the playoffs. Toronto and Boston are the 2 top teams in the East, while Houston and Golden State are the top dogs in the West. Guys, your favorites to win who do you think the favorites are to win each conference, Eastern and Western? Michael?
For the East, I think I'm going to have to go with the number 1 team right now in the Raptors. A huge surprise. I don't think anybody expected them to be the number 1 seed in the East, and they just look really, really good. And in the West, I think you're going to like this one, Malik. I think the Rockets are the team to beat in the West.
Yeah.
I think they're going to dethrone the Warriors this year. I think the Warriors will be dethroned earlier on than the Rockets will. So I think I'm going to go with Houston in the West.
Okay.
Malik?
Well, in the Western Conference, I would definitely say that the Houston Rockets, if they continue to be consistent with their play and continue to play great defense and not just jack up 3-pointers and be inconsistent with that, I think that they'll be the sure favorites to win the West just because of Stephen Curry's injury, which we will touch on later on. And then the Eastern Conference, I can't go with the Raptors. I just can't. I don't think DeMar DeRozan has that clutch factor in him to get out of the get to the freaking what is it called, the Eastern Conference Finals. I don't think that he can get there. I don't think that he can beat LeBron James. I think LeBron has that chip over DeMar DeRozan. I don't think he knows that he can beat him. And I think it might be the Boston Celtics. I think that their young team could get it done.
Still managing to win without Kyrie, which is impressive.
Yes,
Yeah.
very much so.
Obviously, in the West, it's the Rockets, no question about that. We'll talk about Steph Curry and the Warriors a little later. In the East, honestly, I have no idea. Obviously, the Rockets are still the 1 seed. The Raptors are still the 1 seed in the East. They have a huge matchup against the Cavs tonight. Both teams are red hot. I think after tonight, you'll learn more about each team. Boston, I really don't know what to make of Boston. They were good with Kyrie while he was still playing. Then they started losing when he was still playing. Then they lost him with injury. We don't know if he's going to come back this season. They were sliding when he was injured on the bench. Then they started winning without him. I just think Boston's too hot and cold. They aren't able to stay consistent this season.
Yeah, and inconsistency could be big.
And that's going to hurt you come playoff time. We talked about it a little bit, but how much will the loss of Steph Curry hurt the Warriors? Malik, I think the Warriors have a lot of injury problems. Kevin Durant and his knees. Klay Thompson came back from his wrist injury.
Patrick McCraw off the bench.
Yeah, I don't think he's gonna. I honestly don't think he's gonna be back this season.
That was a tough
or
fall.
maybe the later if the Warriors somehow make it to the finals, the NBA finals, maybe McCraw will be back. But honestly, I don't see him being back this season. And that's a huge loss for their bench.
I think Stephen Curry's injury is very, very big, and it's to the same MCL left knee that he had when they lost the championship to the Cavs.
Yeah.
So it's kind of like he wasn't the same even when he came back and made that shot against the Trailblazers in Game 5.
I think they forced him. They forced him back.
Yeah. So I just think that won't. I don't think he'll be ready to play. Although I did see the Suns and the Warriors game. I think it was yesterday.
Yeah. It was a
Kevin
close
Durant.
game.
Yeah, it was. It was very close. And then Kevin Durant and Klay Thompson caught fire. But it is Kevin Durant. So you can't really put anything past him. He's a great scorer, very, very, very consistent and efficient scorer. But I just think that Stephen Curry injury and Patrick McCraw, who is a key part of their bench unit, I think that will be very hindrance to them going into the playoffs.
Michael, your thoughts real quick?
Warriors aren't the same team that they have been in years past, and Steph Curry is their top guy, and they're not going to have the money to keep all of them around. So these injuries just add even more insult to their team right now. So yeah, I think it might hurt them. Might get past the first round, but second round time, it's going to really hurt them a lot more.
Yeah, I think maybe the Warriors, they're not going to admit this, but maybe they'll let their confidence and their success get to their heads, and they can't stay healthy as a team.
And then you also got to see that the Western Conference is so
Yeah.
good.
Yeah.
It's
Especially with the
teams that's not
Rockets.
even making it, and they have winning records. So
Real quick, last question for the NBA. What's wrong with the Bucks? Michael, one thing, if you had to pick out one thing that's wrong with the Bucks, what would it be?
Just the lack of production overall by the team, especially on the bench. No one is coming out and helping Giannis at all, so no production whatsoever by this Bucks team, except for Giannis.
I think
Malik?
Michael Brogdon being injured is a big key loss for them. I don't think that they. I don't think that they could come back from that, and they're just so lackadaisical when they held leads. It's like you can't.
Yep.
That
be
showed
like
against
that.
the Rockets, obviously,
Exactly.
or the Nuggets. But,
Yeah.
yeah.
That really hurt.
Real quick, before we move to the NHL, lack of production off the bench, and honestly, sometimes in games, lack of effort too. There's been several times where I'm watching the game and I'm thinking to myself, if the Bucks don't care on the court, why should I care enough to watch a game?
Exactly.
Yeah.
We'll see if they drop out of playoff contention, they make the playoffs, how far they go. Moving on to the NHL, with about 2 weeks left in the NHL regular season, week and a half, teams are jockeying for wild card spots. Predators, Golden Knights, Jets, Bruins, Lightning, Capitals, Maple Leafs, Penguins, Sharks, and Wild have all secured playoff spots. Guys, what other teams do you think that could sneak in last day or two of the season and be a dark horse?
I think you got looking at right now at the Western Conference standings. Right now in the wild card spots, I believe you have the Ducks and the Avalanche right there for the final two spots.
Avalanche, that's going to come down to the last day of the season.
I believe so, but looking at last year, Anaheim made it all the way to the Western Conference Finals and ended up losing to a very good Nashville team. So I think they could come in there and look for redemption, probably even hungrier this year than they were last year.
Yeah, Ducks for me as well. Malik?
I'm actually going to go on the Eastern Conference side. I'm going to say the Florida Panthers. I think
Yeah.
Luongo's a great goalie, and then you go with Trocheck and all of Barkov.
Yeah.
They have a
Yeah.
great. They have
And
a really
Bukestad, too.
Bukestad
A
is
lot of
really
young
good.
scorers,
Yep,
and
yep.
that's definitely
Huberdeau.
Yeah,
They have a nice
exactly.
team.
Ryan Suter, the Wild defenseman, out for the rest of the season, fractured ankle. You think the Wild are going to be able to overcome that?
Yeah, I think they will. I think the Wild still have Eric Stahl.
Eric Stahl is very
he's
good.
very, very good. I think he leads the team in points. He's a leader of a team that can actually get through a playoff series. So I think they'll be okay without Ryan Suter.
I'm a Wild fan myself, and losing Suter is going to hurt the team going into the playoffs.
Definitely gonna hurt.
Yeah, but you mentioned Stahl there, Malik, and you also got, I believe, Matt Dumba. You know, he's definitely one of the top defensemen last year. Kind of underrated, but at the same time, he's there. Yeah. So.
Real quick, it sucks losing a player like Suter. Obviously, a great player, great leader, great person overall, but their experience, they're going to be able to overcome it. For buy or sell, the Golden Knights will win the Stanley Cup. You guys buying it? You guys think it's going to happen?
I'm going to sell that. There's just too many good teams out there. The Golden Knights are one of them, but I don't know. They're obviously a first-year team. You don't know how well this team is going to handle themselves going into the postseason.
Malik?
I'm going to settle as well, but I think the upside for the future of this team is really, really good. I mean, you have William Karlsson. He's leading the plus-minus in the whole entire league. He's plus 43, so they have a lot of upside. And just to come into their inaugural season and have 100 points, I mean, that's really, really good. But I don't think they're going to win the Stanley Cup.
Buy or sell? Malik, your Capitals will finally make it to the Stanley Cup Finals.
I'm going to buy that. I think that we can actually make it through as long as we beat we have to get past that boy over there, 87.
Easier said than done.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's easier said than done, but their team is really good. I mean, they're stacked, but I think that we can beat them this year.
Michael, buy or sell?
Sorry, Malik. I'm going to sell that. I think Boston and Pittsburgh are really two of the top teams in the East, and I think both of them have pretty good chances of going to the Stanley Cup. But Caps will be up there definitely in the playoffs.
I'm going to sell it too. You have Boston, you have Pittsburgh, you have
Lightning.
the
Lightning.
and then the Panthers, if they make it in too. Watch out for the Panthers.
Yeah.
The Brewers need to acquire a top-end starter for their rotation. Buy or sell? I'm gonna buy that 100%.
I buy that. They definitely need some starting guy in their rotation to get them far enough in the season.
3 for 3. I'm buying that as well.
All right. Kawhi Leonard will play again this season with the Spurs. Buy or sell? I'm selling that. I think he's not playing this season, and he's done with the Spurs too.
I'm going to sell that as well. No production.
He's selling.
3 for 3. Yeah, awesome. All right. Well, that's all the time we have for you today. Thanks to Michael and Malik for joining me today, and a big thank you to our technical staff for making all this possible. Be sure to check us out on Facebook at SBTV UWSP Television, or follow us on Twitter at SBTV_UWSP. Also visit the UWSP homepage to locate all your Pointer athletic information. We'll see you next time on The Locker Room.
See you.